In the interest of not consuming too much time, let me go to my other questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Blackledge, I'll ask you this. There's a requirement that the small business show that it's a going concern. Mm-hmm. And I'm concerned about that right now with our economy, and just would like your thoughts about, should we address that as well?
Are you talking about the hobby business rules?
That's right.
Yes. I think that's an ongoing issue, one that IRS has tried over the years to try and define, but unfortunately it's a very complex area for adjudicating whether or not it truly is a small business effort or not. And it is more complicated now because the economy has made many businesses that might have been successful, might have been generating revenue over the short period of time required for the analysis. But unfortunately, because of the economy, they're simply not able to. I think that's something that can be handled, and I think IRS is moving. In fact, I've seen some things in some of the IRS publications that they are trying to take a little more understanding look at that, and I suspect you'll see that they will be pushing that issue less this year internally, because I think they understand the nature of the economy. I wanted to raise one other point, though, in terms of your first question, and that is, too, that a lot of the complexity there comes from the fact that we're connecting together things that people do as individuals. In this case, you're talking retirement plans, but the same analogy applies to health care. Those are things that really impact an individual, and the kind of business they work for shouldn't necessarily determine what options an individual has to have a retirement plan or to have tax-subsidized medical care. And for pass-through entities, which most small businesses are, that greatly complicates the tax structure. And it also forces on us a lot of decisions we don't want to make about what kind of retirement plan to offer our people or what kind of health care plan. And because small businesses are inherently small and we have very few people to spread the administrative cost over, there also is a very high administration cost, which makes us uncompetitive with large businesses. So as much as possible, simplification could be disconnecting those things from the business and applying things such as health care deductibility and retirement plans at the individual level where they really belong.
Thank you. My last question is for Ms. Chen. Thank you. Do you see incentives for savings in the current tax code for businesses? And let me explain this here. We were an S corporation, and I'm a big saver. But every year the accountant would say you need to zero out your balance. And so we'd start the first of the year with nothing in the bank. And that was really difficult. And I just wondered if you've had that same experience, if you think we should put incentives for savings into the tax code.
Well, actually, Oregon is trying to do that right now at the state legislation to deduct, I think, $1 or $2 from the employees. Right now, it's focused on employees for paid family leave, because right now it's unpaid. I don't know if it's going to pass or not. There are numerous issues. Personally, I've had years where I've lost it because it was a decision between whether to lay off an employee or keep them. And that really is the decision whether you make a profit or not for me. With my responsibility, I decide to keep him and have a loss, so you carry the losses over. And the years that I do have a profit, I'm gladly paid, because there are many years that I don't pay the taxes because I carry over the losses. So as far as the savings, I don't really, it's just business fluctuates. I don't really remember coming across that. This year I will show a profit and I will pay taxes. But I do want to address very quickly the 401k. I instituted 401k in the first few years of my businesses because I wanted to also put the maximum deductions. Rules have changed where officers can only put 2% more, and with the formula. I would like that to go back the way it was, because that really hindered my ability to actually put, what I can in retirement, because, as was mentioned before, small business owners, we invest back into the business. And that's what I have done. And so, comparable to actually some of my employees, I have less in my 401k. It also is a very enticing employment benefit, especially in my industry, which is high, salaries and very excellent benefits, that I do have a match, and most financial planners say number one for retirement is 401k with an employer matching. So I do offer all that. I do entice my employees. I do try and have an employee based type of company. So it's one thing if you were to look at it, is to, if possible, take out the limitations for officers, because I would actually be pretty good off now for almost 20 years if I didn't have that limitation.
Thank you, thank you. Mr. Chairman, may I have the prerogative just to go a little bit over my time?
You're already over your
I
time.
know,
Yes,
I just saw
a short
that.
statement might be acceptable.
Oh, I just saw the other members shaking their heads about the incentives for savings, and I don't know if, Mr. Blackledge, if you want to make a quick comment.
We're also an
Very quick-
corporation.
very quick comment.
And we also zero out our AAA account every year. And I would agree that the nature of the IRS view of small businesses, particularly S corporations, is they should not be saving a lot. And I think some provisions in the code to allow small businesses to accumulate more capital so they didn't have to be constantly borrowing from banks would certainly be beneficial. But it's a
Thank you.
complex issue.
Thank you, panel, and thank you, Chairman. Thank you very